Hey everybody, it's Kelli G in the Craftique Studio. Welcome in. Today we're going to have fun making a special card. If you can take a look at this, isn't it adorable? It's going to have a fun surprise inside, which is a gift card holder. We're also going to be making a matching envelope for your creation. So let's get started. Here are the supplies that you will need to make this project. I started off with, as my base, the A2 gift card holder and envelope cutting die set from Stampendous, which is also produced by Spellbinders. And as you can see here, it gives you a nice large set here that you're going to use to be able to cut out not only the card and the piece inside that holds the gift card, but also the envelope. And this set also comes with several dies, birthday, you, your, for, gift, and happy, so an A. So you can kind of blend these together to make different sentiments. And if you wanted some additional ones, we also have the All the Sentiments stamp and die set in the store too. So as you can see here, you have happy, you, thanks, love, congrats, and hello. And you can actually use some of these and then also combine the sentiments as well. So they're not the same size and in the same font, but they're a different way of using these dies for this particular collection. And you can see here where you can personalize the card on the inside as well as the outside, which we'll do in our project today. Now you want to have a stamp set or some type of stamp or dies to actually give the project a little character. So this one's a very basic card here on the inside, but there's a lot you can do on the outside as well as inside with some different stamps and dies as well. So if you were going more for something like for Mother's Day, maybe you would want to die cut some flowers out and then have them either accented on the inside and then on the outside to kind of tie it in together. But this project is going to be for a young boy. So I'm going to actually use this really cute collection here. And this is the Pink and Main Peekers, the cute Peekers set. So there's a stamp and die set that comes with this. And you'll see how I made the little monkey peek on the outside of the envelope, or the card design as well. And then you're, of course, want to have some markers to color those in. I'm using my Olo markers, and I actually just opened the portrait collection. And as you can see here, here are all my Olos that I've been currently using so far. The portrait collection is a great set to have when you're coloring a lot of people as well as like brown and tan colored furry animals. So you have all different shades of browns and things to use there. And you're also going to have a lot of paper with this collection, of course. And with this project, I used this favorite flannel 6x6 paper pack from Lawn Fawn. What you're going to want to do is have at least one solid color and then a coordinating pattern paper, at least one of each. You can have multiple different colors of paper if you'd like to use those and they coordinate together in a paper pack, which is why I like using those. But we're just going to use one color of the paper, which is going to be this dark blue flannel here. Or maybe I might use the light blue flannel. I'm not sure yet. One of these blue flannels. And then you want to have a core solid color to kind of coordinate off of them. Because when you're working on the project, as you'll see later, you want to use like some of the solid colors to lay the foundation or the background. And then you can use some of the pattern paper to pop off of it. Okay. And then I just had these here to show you. We have the A2 card bases in the shop as well from Spellbinders. And so this pack comes with 25 different cards. And they're side fold and they're made from that Nina paper. Yes, the Nina paper that everybody loves, right? The Nina Brilliant White. So this is the paper that you would use for those. And you can get this set in the store. Very affordable, actually. And then I've also picked the Spellbinders assorted cardstock for my base color. Now, one thing about this is that there's going to be a lot of layers here with the pattern in which you're going to be cutting and pasting and things like that. So you want to make sure you have an 80-pound cardstock for your base color. And so this pack here is the Meadow Collection, and it has a bunch of different colors in it. Nice variety, this pack. which you'll see here. And there's several different color packs that we have in the shop too. So take a look at that. Now, this is just a very beautiful palette of different colors. And what you can do is then take your pattern paper and match it up. I have a piece that's already cut here that we can use of both the light blue and the dark blue, just so I can get a sense of what matches better. I can actually do this. I was actually thinking about this dark piece of navy because I like this as a background color. And so you can do tone on tone, which is actually nice as well. Or you can kind of pop it off of a different color. I'm kind of leaning toward this because it gives more of a juvenile flair, and I want to do something really fun and kiddish. But I'm going to have this on standby just in case. So the beauty about this is that if I find that I don't like this together for this particular card, I can still cut it and then use it for another project. Or I can actually use this with a different background. So like the yellow would work. That's nice. Or even the pink would work if you wanted to do something a little bit more on the feminine side, or the red and blue, something patriotic perhaps. So there's a lot of different options that you have at your disposal. So right now I'm going to pull out this black cards, or this navy cardstock, sorry, and then use that. And of course, for tools, you're going to need a die cutting machine. If you're going to die cut the papers for the cards, as well as these little accents here. I have the markers that I'm going to be using, an adhesive, of course, a strong one that you're going to want to have double-sided. And I think that's it for now. Oh, and then your stamp pad, obviously, if you want stamping the designs out. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually get my accent pieces done and out of the way, because that takes a little bit longer. And I'm just going to show you through the magic of cameras that I actually cut this in advance. So I actually used the monkey. I used the little speech bubble with a little stamp that says hello there. I used a little banana as an accent, the little pause, and then I've actually cut the stars out. So as you can see, this is a clear star, and I wanted to give it color without using a marker and kind of coloring inside of it. So I actually just took a piece of yellow paper and stamped a whole bunch of the stars there, and then just die cut them out. And so that's where you see these. And it's nice because the stars kind of match with the yellow and the banana, but also they're a nice accent color for the blues. So it's not as if I'm going completely at a pocket with the palette. I colored them in using the Olo markers. And as I mentioned, the portrait colors have a lot of different tones or shades of brown and tans. So they work really well with coloring different people in of different skin colors. But at the same time, you can also use it to color in those little cute brown animals. And yeah, so these are going to be the pieces that we play with. I'm actually holding them on my craft stacks box. And as you can see here, this is the, I guess what they call the thinner piece of it. And then there's like a deeper box as well, which I love because you can just put these inside the box and store them if you're not using them. But at the same time, there is a lip on this tray so that you'll be able to store them safely on your desktop without worrying about them just spilling over onto the table. So this is the way I like to keep track of all of my pieces that I've die cut. So we're going to put that to the side. I'm going to use the sentiments that came with this set. I'm not going to open up a new one. So we have our pieces here. You're going to have this piece for the envelope. So we'll set that aside. We're not going to do that until the end. You also get two rectangles, and you'll notice that one is larger than the other. They nest within each other, which is important as we go ahead and start to cut the different pieces. And then you get one inside piece, and you might notice that there's only one of these. So you're going to be folding the paper in half when we get to it to make the different pocket. And I made one here with green cardstock just to show you in a very contrasting way how it's going to look when it's affixed to the paper. And as you can see, it's basically a mirror image of this particular die on each side. So you're going to fold the paper in half, and then you're going to cut it and then you'll be able to instantly put it into the center of your card. So it's a really easy set to put together. So we'll talk about that as we go. As far as sentiments go, you have some options here. I'll show you with this one. This one says birthday. You have the letters that are cut on the inside as well as the shadow die. So you can use like a black or a dark color and then put a light color inside. You can even cut the letters in patterned paper. So if you had some extra pattern paper or a third color perhaps that will coordinate with this particular color palette, you can punch it out or die cut it out in that, and then just have it against the dark background, which is also coordinating with the set. So there's so many different things that you can do, which is really exciting. You can even use metallic paper or some type of glitter paper too, depending on what your project is. So lots of choices. I'm thinking about graduation time, which is coming up, even though we're making a kid's card, and it's probably going to be like a birthday card or for you type of card. So, you know, something like maybe a reward for a good report card. My daughter gets money from her pop, depending on how well her grades look. So that could be something that you can do. You can put a gift card inside as a present. Baby shower gifts, wedding gifts, all kinds of really fun things you can do with this set. And it could be for pretty much any occasion. That could be a good gift for a teacher to put a gift card to a local store, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or something like that, along with like maybe that thank you sentiment from the other set. All right, so we have all the pieces together. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to probably die cut a few sentiments and see what works. Probably a gift for you might be where I'm starting. And then again, you have all of the shadow dies that go with it. I have to figure out where I just spilled everything out. So now I have to figure out where my dies went. And this one is here. It's like a puzzle. It's kind of fun. This kind of puzzle I don't mind. My husband puts together 1,000-piece puzzles, and that can get a little difficult for the average person. But these type of puzzles are fun for me. All right, so a gift for you is I think where I'm going to go with it. And on the inside, I can write a sentiment, or I can put happy birthday in there, or anything else that I like to include. I can even stamp something inside too. So let's get started with the entire project. And to move forward, we're going to need to get some white cardstock as well. And I'm going to get a couple pieces of that. Again, you want something layering weight. So we have some layering weight cardstock in the shop too. In addition to the colors, we have some white cardstock. I believe it's a Gina K layering weight that we have there in white. And I think it comes in ivory as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to put a shopping list on the site, and you'll see it from a link that's posted in the description section. So I have a couple pieces of white, and then again I have my plaid and I have my solid. And with the white, first thing I'm going to do is cut out one large rectangle and then one envelope. So I'm going to use white to make the envelopes. So you know what? I'm going to do that last because I wanted to cut the card part first. So I'm going to cut the envelope out with the white. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this is a really large die. And if you want to take a look at my Spellbinders, I have the Platinum 6. Here is the base platform for it, right? 6 inches wide. And then look at the die. It takes up the entire section. So you really want to be careful when you're die cutting this. You want to make sure that you have the paper, taped on properly so it doesn't move. You also want to make sure that the die is like centered as much as possible so that you'll get in these two edges. And you can't do like you would normally do with other dies where you can kind of like rotate it around, put it on an angle, because this will fall off, right, with the 6-inch platform. So what you want to make sure you're doing is lining it up as much as possible. And then when you're running it through, and this is obviously not the sandwich that I'm using to cut it through, my cutting plates are embarrassingly scuffed up, as you can see here. But when you cut through, you want to make sure that you go through and you put the paper on the top. I like to do that when it's a very intricate die. That would be the case with this in the sense that, it's on the edge. So I would put paper down on top and then make my sandwich with the cutting plates on the either side of them, right? Paper at the top. And then when you put it through, it should come out with a better impression, okay? And we'll take a look at that in a moment when we cut the plates. When we cut the envelope. And then I want to cut one large rectangle, and that's going to be for the envelope, okay? And as you'll see, these little flaps here will fold in, and this will serve as the panel on the back of the envelope itself, okay? So we'll go back to that in a moment. Right now, I want to cut out the colored paper. So with my blue cardstock, which is this solid sheet, I'm going to cut out 3 of the large rectangles here and 1 of the middle piece, which is this. Now again, make sure you have enough paper. You might need 2 sheets because when you're cutting this out, you're not just cutting the page out like this, or you're not cutting it out like just simply like you usually do. You need to fold it first and then cut it. So what I'm going to do is cut my rectangles first, see how much of the paper I use, and then whatever's left I can use to make the middle. Now you also can make the middle out of white cardstock too, to blend in with the inside of the paper. So if you look at it here, if this is white, it will blend in with these 2 panels. But what I'm intending to do is use the blue to be background pieces for the inside of the card as well as the outside front cover of the card. So if you wanted it to be consistent with the blue that's going to be here, you might want to make this blue. But you can also make it white, and then it'll be consistent with the inside of the card pieces here as well. So 2 different options. We're just going to wing it and see how much paper I have left and then go from there. So I took the paper and I cut it down into 2 A2 panels, which is basically cutting the large sheet in half, right? Cutting it in half long ways, and then cutting that piece of paper in half again. So that gives you 2 A2 panels. And then I kept this one whole because 1, it will fit on my platform, and then 2, it will show me how much room I have left to possibly cut this piece, but I don't think I will be able to with this one piece of paper. But that's okay, because I can use it for other things. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out. And basically you wanna make sure with the large rectangle, as you can see, it very much hits the edge there. So you wanna make sure all the edges are covered before you tape it down with some low-tack tape, and then run it through your die cut machine. This one I am going to tilt when I run it through to give me a better impression. And I actually run it through once and then come back again. Okay, so that was cut well. Okay, I'm going to cut 2 more just like that. Now, I wonder, who among you is looking at this piece of paper and saying, oh, I can use this for something? I am like that too, but I'm going to give in. It's only a little tiny sliver. It's not a lot of wasted paper, so I'm going to close my eyes and chuck it because I really don't need it. So, okay, I have all 3 of the large rectangle pieces here. My scrap after that looks like this. So I'm just gonna snip these off. And maybe, just maybe, I might be able to fit them. All right, so what I need to do is just fold this in half, but first I'm gonna cut these strips off to make it even. Okay, so I cut the strips off to make it even, and now I'm going to see if I'm able to make it. So I don't trust this. What I'm gonna do is actually measure just to be sure. And this is 2 inches. And I need 4 inches to clear, and we are over 4 inches. So yes, we can do it. So what I'm going to do is fold it first. In half. And then score it just to press in that crease there. Okay, which is going to be important. Now, what you need to do is make sure you line up the die flush to this edge. Okay, flush to this edge. Now, the die is not going to cut. See how it's open here? It's not going to cut a line there so that you'll be able to maintain the fold on the edges. What it will do is cut out this part here, and it's going to perforate this part so that you'll be able to fold it back to make these tabs. Okay, so again, make sure you're taping this flush to the top of your folded edge, and when you cut it, it will all work out. Now, can you make something like this on your own? Of course you can, but something like this is just so convenient because everything's already done for you, right? It's all measured out, it's all scored, it's all perforated, and all you have to do is like spend your time trying to think of the color paper you want to use. Like, I'd rather spend my time doing something like that. So that's what makes these dies fun and handy. So, okay, then we have this thing in the middle. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm not going to keep it, I promise you. But we are going to reuse some of the other paper in a more green way. All right, so you have this paper here. See, if you open it up, it opens into a full oval. But you have these score lines here, which you're going to use to bend away, okay, from the design. So there's one over there. And there's one over here. You want to press those lines down too. All right, and now you have the inside magic of the gift card holder. I mean, very simple. Now all you're going to do is when we get to that point, we're going to glue it down in the center, and then you're done with that piece. So let me give you a sense of what it's going to look like. Let me pull out a card base here. And so when you open it up, you're going to have this piece here that's going to be centered in the middle. And we'll talk about how to tape it down so that it's most effective. They're also going to have the interior with your card, your panels here, your dark panels. And you can see how that's all coming together, and see why the blue, if you wanted to do one continuous piece, it looks good to have it all blue on the inside. And then when you put all of your accent pieces on top, this all maintains itself as if it were one, solid piece in the beginning. Okay, so that's how it's coming together. Now what I want to do next is cut my interior panels, and then I'm going to cut them with the, which color should I use? I'm trying to think. I kind of like both of them. Could I use both of them? Sure. Do I want to? I don't know. Well, let's see. Make sure I get the right rectangle, which is the smaller one. And I might just cut both to see what I like better. This one I like a lot better, but it's so dark. And I'm wondering how that's going to work itself out with the accent pieces. It looks a little bit too much. This one I like as well. How would that look against this? I think I'm going tone on tone. So here's what I decided to do. I decided to cut one plaid panel for the inside top, and then I cut a white panel for the inside bottom. And the reason why is because I wanted to use this for a sentiment. I wanted to be able to have some space to write something, and I couldn't do that if the panel was all blue plaid. Now, I could have also layered this with the blue plaid and then cut like a smaller piece out of a, you know, like a die cut shape to be smaller here and then put the sentiment in there, but it was just too much layering for me. There's a lot of layers that are involved in this card as it is, and I didn't want to make it too bulky. So I'm going to actually layer it this way, where you get the message at the bottom. And then I can always accentuate this with some stamps around here. I can put in some type of an ink blending border. I could do a whole bunch of different things there, and I'll have to think about what I want to do with that. But right now, I like the way this is looking. And then on the outside, I'm going to also have on the front cover these two panels. But I'm going to do something a little fun with this plaid piece on the front cover to give it a little interest, but at the same time, it will match with the other pieces in this particular card. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is glue down the center piece here. And the way you want to do it is that you want to do the alignment while the card is open, because you get to see what the card looks like when it's open, and then you'll be able to know how the panels should shut properly. Okay, so you don't want it to be too close, and you don't want it to ride the crease inside of the card. So for example, you don't want it to be, you know, this closed and then right on the crease, because then when you fold it, it's going to make it a little bit more bulky. Remember that a gift card is going to go inside, and what you can do is just have one on hand to kind of test it out and see how it's going to go. Now, just a little note, if you had a side fold card, you can do that as well with this card holder, right? It'll go both ways. So it can either be portrait or landscape. It doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to open it up a little bit so that these heels of the blue panels are not on the crease on the inside. Let's see if you can see that, but they're on either side of it, right? They're very close to it, but they're not on it. So in order to do that, I'm going to put the double-sided adhesive on both pieces of the heel, and then we'll lay it down and see how it comes out. You want to make sure you're using double-sided adhesive in this case. Okay. So I'm just going to take the tape off the first side so we can anchor one down, and then we'll be able to affix the other side. Okay. So again, coming back up, looking at where you want it to be, making sure it's not right on the crease, but right outside of it, and also making sure you're centering it in the middle of the card as well. Okay. Gonna do this on the table. Okay. Just make sure it's still right. Okay. I'm gonna lay down properly. Okay. And then, okay, so let's test it. Oop, I didn't put it close enough. And I didn't press it down either, so I could adjust it. And this is why some people do like to have liquid glue. I feel you on that, but if you don't press it all the way down, it should be okay. Okay, let's try now. There we go. There we go. All right. And it might be a little wonky at first because there's a lot of paper layering that's going on here. You can always press in the impression later. So there you have it. Oops. Okay. Yes, it's going to be bulky in the middle, right? Just remember that. Yep. And then my card came out of alignment a little bit. So you can always fix it. once you anchor one side down, I would take the tape off and just lay it down. Okay, so there you go. It's going to be a little wonky at first, but I'm going to be putting a lot more layers in, so it'll eventually kind of lay down. And if you're feeling a little uneasy, just run a little creaser down the center. All right, so there you go. Now you can glue the panels on and then just place them over the edge here. Okay, so it gives that illusion of one continuous piece of paper. You will have a white frame around it, which even adds a little bit extra to the design, makes it look a little bit more polished. And then I'm going to do the same with this piece here. Now, you may want to stamp it and design it first if you'd like, and then glue it down, but I'm going to use this strictly for writing a message, so I probably won't. Maybe I'll add like a rubber and transfer or something like that later, but for now I just want to keep it simple. Okay. For this part, I will use a little liquid adhesive. Okay, now because I'm writing on this one, I want to keep this piece as flush as possible, making sure there's no bumps underneath. But for this piece here, no one's going to see all of this paper in the middle, and there's so much paper that can be used. So you know what I'm thinking? I can use the middle part of this to cut out the shadow dies of the words that I'm going to be using for my project. Now, when you do this, make sure that you keep it as close to the center as possible, and make sure you don't, cut into any precious areas that are going to be visible. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out while I'm at it. Okay, so we have our shadows done. Let me just set them over to the side. I'm actually going to put them in my craft stacks. Good idea, so that they won't go missing. Have you ever done a lot of die cutting and then are searching afterwards when you need the pieces to find them? Yep, that's me. So these craft stacks are so handy. And then you can just, cut a whole bunch of stuff, put it inside one of them, and close it up. All right, so that's to the side. Now, we've glued this one here. Now we can go ahead and glue the top panel, because we used all we're going to use. And for this, I'm going to actually put the glue on this side so that we're not gluing through initially. I love how the glue makes the blue paper come out like with this pretty color. Okay. I keep remembering this slips and slides still, which is good so you can reposition it, but not good if you're just, pressing down. All right. So now we're going to put that inside panel here. And you can add some elements to it as well, depending on, the die set you use for accents. Okay, so now we've glued all our inside pieces and parts together. It's looking pretty nice, right? We have our gift card holder. You just keep testing it every time you want to. Just kind of see how it will look. Very nice, very nice. And we can close it. Very good, very good. So now let's work on this outside panel here. And as you can see, it's starting to get really bulky, which is okay. It's going to settle, you know, and what I would probably do when I finish this is put like maybe a heavy textbook over it just to lay it down for a couple hours and just, you know, settle it a little bit, let it cure. But we have our background panel here for this page, for the front cover here. And then we can easily just put this here and then just embellish it, right? But I want to do something a little bit more fun. So what I'm going to do is create some layers to this particular panel, because remember, our little monkey is going to be peeking out over something, right? So I want to give it something to peek out of. So I'm going to cut maybe a layer here or a line here. I'm just going to kind of score it into 3 pieces, okay? And I didn't really measure it out at all. I just cut 3 pieces since the one piece is already measured out to its full capacity. It doesn't matter, you know, in which way you cut it. It's just a matter of how you want it to look in the design. And because you have a little bit of leeway, let me just do this here. Because you have a little bit of leeway to the edge of the picture, you can kind of play around with these pieces and move them around a little bit. So the idea here, oops, I have this turned the other way. The idea here is to break it up so that you would have a space for the little monkey to peek out. And you see how that looks? It's giving it some dimension without even redesigning anything. So you can just repurpose the same paper in a different way, and it gives a totally new effect. So now I can put a little pause here. How cute is this? He's peeking out over. And then you can say, hello there. And then I can use the sentiments down here. So I forgot to cut the words out. I'm thinking I might just do them in white and maybe just have a little fun with some color. So I'm thinking, should I just use the yellow? But no, I want to use a different color. How about an orangish red? Let me see how that would look, or an orange. Orange might work well with the palette, yeah. So what I'm going to do with my Olo marker is I'm going to, let's see, I could fit all of them here on the scrap paper where I die cut the monkey. I'm just going to make some textured marks with the edge of my brush tip. And I did it on purpose this way because it gives it a little bit of interest. It's not completely, you know, like paper. And I'm going to cut out. And I want to use different textures of the color, right? So some of them are a little heavier than others. Some of them have a mix. So I can do that. A for you gift. Here we go. Right there. All right, so I'm going to tape these down and cut them out, and that you're going to get a bunch of letters. Now, here's a fun fact about this set. I initially thought that the letters were going to come out individually, and then I would have to figure out, like, you know, where all of them go. But look at this. They have a little line underneath, and they all stick together. That's very convenient, especially with the word birthday. That's a lot of letters, right? And then you have the little dot for the I, stayed. That's separate. And then you have you. And just poke out that O. Look at that. How cute is this little typewriter font? Those of you who grew up knowing what typewriter fonts came from, where they came from. And then I could just lay it on the shadow die. Looks really nice now. Just pops that orange. And you couldn't even tell that I made the orange coloring myself with a marker. Oh wait, this has a little dot on it. I didn't have to use this. That probably came out of something else. Perfect. And then we have the A. Paper piecing at its best. Love it. So much fun. Oops. Now you might be thinking, okay, I can glue with this tip or even one of those micro tips and put the glue on, but I find that to be a little bit messy. What I prefer to do instead is use sticky dots. If you have not yet used sticky dots, you've got to get a pack of these things. They're amazing. Let me show you how they work. Okay, so each sheet, and you get 12 of them in this pack, contains a whole bunch of micro sticky dots. And that's literally what they are. So if you open it up and take off the adhesive, I don't know if you can see it. There's little tiny, you can hear it, dots of adhesive behind the strip. So what you can do is peel back. This one's already stripped. Let me try the other side. Oh, I guess it's to get you started. Okay. So I'll start with that one. And peel back side here. And then you place them down. Here's the sticky part on this side. So you want to make sure the sticky part, that you're placing them down onto the sticky part, which makes sense, right? The pieces that you want to make sticky. And I'm going to push them all together to make use of the space. Okay. Then you put down the protective coating, and then you just use popsicle stick, creasing tool, flat edge of a ruler, anything that you can find, but you want to be gentle and just rub over it like a rub-on transfer. So basically what you're doing is you're transferring the sticky dots that are underneath onto your die cut. And these are perfect for these intricate letters and things that you don't want to glue and make a mess with. All right, and then once you lift it up, you can't see it because it's clear, but they're sticky. So now I can take my base and there you have it. No mess, no bleeding glue, which I always do, get bleeding glue everywhere. These are awesome. We do have them in the shop, and they're not terribly expensive, guys, to get. But these are going to be instantly a go-to in your craft stash that you must have, especially if you die cut a lot. And if you use a lot of the Spellbinder stuff, because they have, here we go, they have a lot of like little pieces for some of these sets, and it just makes life so much easier to do it that way, right? With the sticky dots. Genius, whoever came up with it. Simply genius. Okay, and then the last one. And my fingers don't get all sticky and messy. I mean, come on. Such a benefit. It's like a no-brainer. You have to put some of these in your cart. All right. And then you're going to want more and more and more and more. But you get 12 sheets. I mean, and you only used a little bit in the corner, right? So a little goes a long way with these sheets. And think about all the fun you can have with this, right? I'm going to come back to it when I get to these little pieces here. Now, some I might want to pop up with foam tape. I have to see what we're looking at, but for the most part, I can just use these as well. Or I can use these journey dots as well. So a couple different options for adhesives there. All right, back to the project. So I can lay this out, and you always want to lay it out first completely before you commit with the glue. Because now look at this, it kind of moved the little arms over, the hands over, and I kind of like it that way because it's kind of giving the whole to the side like vibe, which is really cute. And then, let's see, a gift for you. So you can do it like that. And I get that the shadowing is not much of a contrast because it's blue on blue, but I kind of like it. It gives dimension anyway. Again, this is a masculine card, so I'm not trying to get too colorful with it. I mean, it's a boy, but you know, I just don't want it to get too colorful. I wanted to keep it simple. All right, so there's my basic layout. I can play around with the spacing a little bit here and there. And then once I'm done with that, I want to commit to it, and then I'll start to glue. Now, what I'm going to do is make sure, since I want it to kind of have that dimension still with the little peekaboo part, with the little peeking monkey, I'm only going to glue down for these 3 pieces here, the edges. Okay, so the middle are going to stay fluid so I can put the pieces in. And it just gives it a little bit more of a 3-dimensional look. You can also pop up one of these panels with foam tape. Like you can keep these, the top and the bottom here flush, and then you could pop up this one on foam, the middle one, a little bit higher in the foam panels. And that will give it another fun look. I think I might do that, actually. So, yeah, let me take some glue and start committing my pieces down. For this caption bubble, I'm just going to use some of these fun Stampers Journey dots. As you can see, it's just a string of different little dots. Yeah, there you can see. They're available in the shop, very affordable. And they just have little squares of the glue. You can see that, square of the glue bubble. And you just pop it on, and it transfers. So that's really easy as well. And it doesn't give dimension like foam tape would. It just glues it on. Okay. So I have that one. I'm going to put this panel down. You know, I was also thinking this could be a cool gift from a child to a father or mother. Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthday, whatever. It's kind of cute when they're giving mom or dad a gift card. And they can decorate it themselves on the front. That's really cute. All right, so I'm going to put this down at the bottom. So I definitely think I'm going to put some foam tape down and give the outer part some dimension. But remember, you have a whole bunch of stuff going on inside the card too, so there's going to be a lot of added dimension. Now the envelope that comes with it is going to accommodate that. But just keep in mind, like if you're mailing it, you might want to make it as flat as possible. This kind of card, when you go nuts, could be best for a gift that you give to someone in hand. You don't have to worry about bulk and postage. All right, now the second piece, I'm going to pop up so it looks like he's literally like standing behind that panel there. Gives a little bit more dimension to the pop-up. I'm going to use the Alta New foam tape. Love this stuff. Can't get enough. You can actually rip it. You don't have to cut it. Did I put that too close? Oh no, it's the bottom part. Okay. The top part, I want to make it a little bit closer to the middle, just so that I'm leaving the top part open for that peekaboo part. Easy peel away backing. And I'm going to line it up with the pattern here. All right. Look at that. It already gives dimension. And it looks like he's tucked in under there. I love this. So exciting. All right, I'm going to use my sticky dots and then put down the paws. I mean, not sticky dots, journey dots. So many dots. Sticky dots were those little sheets that we had that we will be coming back to in a moment. That one paw. Oh, there we go. And second paw. I'm desperately trying to put things back when I'm finished using them during a crafting session, but that's not going over so well. Do you clean up as you go? Inquiring minds want to know. Oops. The nice thing about these journey dots is they're repositionable. They're not like permanent right away. Okay, now we just need to put the words here. And then if you had other things, like embellishments. See how this is coming together? I like it. All right. Remember, we want the rule of 3. This can actually serve as 3, and it's in a triangle formation. And that would actually look cute. You can also use some enamel dots if you have them. I like this. All right, we're going to commit these words down. You can use glue. You can use the journey dots again. You can use some like flat 2-sided tape. And then the other thing that you want to keep in mind is that you want it to stay straight. So I would use a T-ruler in this situation, or T-bar, where you lay it down the way you want it. Make sure this edge on the left is flush and straight, and then you'll have your right angle. And then you can't go wrong with making sure your design is straight, in a straight line. Okay, a gift for you. And then I'm gonna use my journey dots and pop these up. There we go. So that is our front cover all done. And the last step is that we just have to glue it onto the front of our card. Voila! Now, the other fun thing that you can do when you're finished is if you wanted to add a couple of little embellishments, again, you can add something up here, a poem, or, you know, some verbiage, sentiments. You can also add some decorations. You can also decorate this little part down here, which I think is going to be really cute, because if you're looking at it flush, you can kind of put like a banana. You can put a star here and just decorate this side. I think that would be pretty. And then if you had flowers, for example, like say you were doing something for Mother's Day or Mom's birthday or something like that, you can actually decorate it with larger pieces like this flower here, or you could do a couple of things with that. So there's so much you can do, but again, I'm keeping it simple this time. And I'm going to get those journey dots again. and just use those to just add a couple of little accents. You can also add the accents down here or stamp out a couple of stars just to make it more cohesive. But I'm going to put a little banana here and a little star. Oops, wrong side. Star right here. And then rule of 3. Add another one. And a triangle pattern. All right, so here you go. We have that little pattern there, which will look really cute. So to finish it off, we will put in, once again, our little gift card. Of course, I'm not giving Dunkin' coffee to a 5-year-old boy or whatever, but you get the picture. Just want to use that as a placeholder. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed making this with me today and that you'll use these dies to make so many other patterns as well and different cards. Again, you can do something landscape or a portrait as well with the same gift card holder, and you'll be able to have the same effect. Just like that. I almost forgot about the envelope. Oh my goodness. Well, you can surely put this in an A2 size regular envelope if you'd like. But again, it's a little bulky, a little thicker. So you might want to use the envelope die that was provided with the set. And in order to make the envelope, you're going to need some cardstock. I'm going to use just white cardstock. I don't want to make it fancy or anything at this moment. And then you're going to use the larger rectangle die. So you just need these 2 pieces, and you're going to cut out one of each. Now you can use, pattern paper that's coordinating with the set. You can do all kinds of fun things, but I'm just going to keep it simple just for the purposes of showing you. And again, remember, this is going to take up the entire space of your die cut platform. So when you cut down this 8.5 by 11 paper, you want to make sure you cut down a piece that is at least 6 inches wide. And then the length on that is going to be about 7.5 inches. So I would just safely cut 6 by 8. Okay, here's your 6 by 8 piece of paper. And as you can see, it takes up the entire piece. So make sure you are angling it. I want to make sure I'm laying this down properly. I'm fastening it down securely with tape. So it doesn't budge. And then when I'm putting it on the cutting platform, I'm actually going to cut it upside down. Okay. And don't have a lot of room to slant it or anything. So I'm going to run it through. The other good thing about doing it this way is that you can instantly see whether the paper has been cut without moving it around too much. And you can hear that that's like a really sharp cut. So let's take a look. Make sure it went through properly. Okay, so it worked on this side, but you can see this side is still a little wonky. So I'm going to try to move it over as much as I can, just to make sure I get a good press on the left this time. Okay. It sounds like you're breaking it, doesn't it? Fear not, people. It's just the way of the die cut. All right. So I got the good cut, and as you can see here, the tabs are already perforated, or scored rather. And then you just want to cut the other piece, the long rectangle, which is an easier piece to cut, smaller. And I can use a scrap piece. I think I have a big enough scrap piece for that. And then here we go. That came out clean. All right. So envelope is so easy. You will need some tape, double-sided adhesive to complete this. And it doesn't hurt to have a bone folder or a scoring tool. So let me introduce a darker color underneath so that you can see what's going on. It's a little contrast for you. Oh, lime green. Love this color, by the way. Don't know if I'd use it on a lot of stuff, but I just love it. All right, so you see these score lines here. Or not score lines, I keep saying. Yeah, score lines, sorry. You're going to fold those in. And you're going to press down. You will notice that one side is bigger than the other with the flap. That's normal. And then one side here is bigger than the other too. That is also normal. That's going to determine our top flap versus the bottom flap of the envelope. Okay, so once you've got them all folded inward and scored and pressed, this is going to be just the finishing panel to your envelope. So I made it all one color. You can make it different color, and you can do something fun with it for the inside. You can decorate this part of it here as well. You can do a whole bunch of things, but I'm just going to keep it really simple. What I would do first is actually secure these edges down and then add the panel on top. And I'm going to do that with some tape. And you don't need a lot in this particular section. And you just want to get this little piece here. You don't want to tape it onto the envelope itself because then the card won't be able to fit inside. Okay, so just a little piece there. Just enough to cover that tab and secure it. Okay, so I'm going to secure that. All right, now we can lay this one down. And what I'm going to do is actually put the adhesive on this part, not on this part, because what if you use glue and then you get too much on it and then it just bleeds out? It just would be a hot mess, right? You'll know exactly where the adhesive needs to go from looking at the bottom. So why not let that be your guide? And where there's some overlap right here, I'm going to put a little bit more of the tape just so that it secures that piece down a little bit more. All right, here's our last piece. Again, this would be decorated under other circumstances, but not today. Just want to keep it simple. And you can use these envelopes for other cards too. It doesn't have to be for just this card. It's an A2 size, so feel free to use it with some of your others. All right, and then this is the part that's going to be sealed. Now, once you do this, you might want to reinforce a little bit of the edge. I didn't put the tape down to the edge. That's where you might want to put a little bit of, you know, glue or something, but I can just peek it up here. And peel off that backing. And then just press it down. There we go. And, oops. So when you have a lot of layers, you want to make sure everything tucks in properly. Ta-da! So you can decorate that all you like, make it pretty. This is also where you can put another one of those panels on, right, with pattern paper, and all the dimensions are consistent. So you can just go to town and decorate there as well. So there is your finished project. I hope that you enjoyed creating with me today. Be sure to look in the description section for a link to the shopping list for all the items used in today's project, as well as leave a comment. Let me know how you liked it. If you liked it, thumbs up. Just give me some type of feedback. I'd love to hear from you. Please also remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.